Hi guys, welcome back to Modern Sourcing and Procurement. In the last video, we did a deep dive into sourcing events. What are the RFIs, RFPs, reverse auctions and forward auctions? Now, at the end of that video, I mentioned what comes after a sourcing event. You have run your RFP, you have done your reverse auction, you have evaluated the suppliers, you have selected a winner. Now what? Now you formalize that decision into a legally binding agreement. And that's exactly what today's video is about. SAP Ariba contracts. Contract management is one of those areas that doesn't get enough attention in procurement conversations. Everyone talks about sourcing, about getting the best price, but the contract is where all those hard won terms actually get logged in. And if you manage contracts poorly, all that savings work can unravel very quickly. So let's understand what a contract actually is in a business context, and then see exactly how SAP Ariba manages it digitally. So before we talk about the system, let's talk about the concept because this is foundational. A business contract is far more than just a document with signatures on it. It is the foundation of an entire working relationship between two parties. It defines how they will collaborate, what each side is expected to deliver, and the rules that govern their entire engagement. The most important word here is clarity. A contract exists to eliminate ambiguity because in business, ambiguity is expensive. Think about what happened with many IT outsourcing contracts during the COVID pandemic. Companies that had vague contracts with their vendors, no clear clauses about remote working, no SLA adjustment, ended up in massive disrupts. Companies with well structured, clear contracts were able to navigate those situations because everything was already defined. SAP Ariba contract management module ensures that every agreement your company signs in is not just a document sitting in someone's inbox. It is clearly and fully traceable from creation to expiry. Let's now look at what actually goes inside a well structured business contract. The first two building blocks of any contract are roles and responsibilities, and pricing and payment terms. Starting with roles and responsibilities, this section answers the most basic but critical questions. Who is the buyer and who is the supplier? Who delivers what and who signs off that the delivery is acceptable? This creates clear accountability on both sides, so there is no finger pointing later. Let us take an example. A company like Infosys signing a managed services contract with a client will have very detailed roles defined. Which team is responsible for what deliverable? Who is the client single point of contact? Who approves change request and so on. Without this, you end up with both sides saying that was your responsibility when something goes wrong. The second element is pricing and payment terms. This covers the unit price or total contract value, the currency and payment timelines, net 30, net 60 or so on. It also includes any volume based discounts, early payment incentives and late payments penalties. If a pharma company raw material supplier might negotiate a tiered pricing structure like 500 rupees per kg for up to 1000 kg and 470 per kg for anything above. This gets logged into the contract so the buyer automatically gets the better rate when they cross the threshold. No renegotiation needed every time. Both of these sections together answer the most fundamental question of any business deal. Who does what and who pays whom, how much and when. The next two elements are deliverables and timelines. And these are where contracts most commonly go wrong if they are not specific enough. Deliverables covers the actual goods or services being provided with clear quality standards and technical specifications. It also defines the acceptance criteria, the conditions that must be satisfied before a delivery is considered complete and payment is triggered. Like an IT company implementing an ERP system for a client can't just say we will deliver the system. The contract must specify what delivered actually means. All modules live, all data migrated, 95% uptime achieved, and full user training completed. Without acceptance criteria, the supplier can say they are done while the client disagrees. And that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Timelines covers the contract start and end dates and the milestone in betweens. Milestones are especially important because they often serve as payment triggers. You pay 30% on milestone 1, 40% on milestone 2 and 30% on completion. Like in construction contracts, say building a new warehouse, the contract will have milestone based payment. Like foundation done, structure complete, interior fit out done and handover. The contractor only gets paid when each milestone is verified. This keeps both sides accountable and cash flow predictable. The golden rule here is if it is not written down with a deadline and an acceptance criteria, it doesn't exist as a commitment. Now we get to the part of the contract that nobody wants to use, but everybody needs to have: penalties, termination, and legal protections. The penalties and termination section defines what happens when things go wrong, late delivery penalties, and the right for either party to exit the contract under defined conditions. Like in an automotive industry, a tier 1 supplier like Bosch supplying components to a car manufacturer will typically have a contract with very strict late delivery penalties. Sometimes 0.5% to 2% of the order value per day of delay. This is because a production line stoppage due to missing components can cost the manufacturer crores per hour. The penalty clause makes the supplier treat delivery timelines as non negotiable. Legal protections cover three main areas. First, confidentiality clauses or NDAs, which prevent either party from sharing sensitive business information with competitors. Second is liability limitations, which cap how much one party can claim from the other in a dispute, and dispute resolution mechanism. Third is governing law, which country's law apply and which court handles the disputes. Like when an Indian company signs a contract with a US based SaaS vendor, there is always a governing law clause. If it says state of law applies, then any dispute goes to a US court, which can be very expensive for the Indian company. Experienced procurement teams always negotiate for an Indian law or international instead. These clauses are what separate a professional procurement contract from a handshake deal. Okay, so now we understand what a contract contains. The question is, how do most companies actually manage all of this in practice? The honest answer is not very well in many organizations. Before SAP Ariba, contract management is in most companies looked like this. Contract is scattered across email threads, different versions saved on different people laptops, renewals missed because nobody set a reminder, approvals chased over WhatsApp, and no single person who know exactly what was in every active contract. I have spoken to procurement managers who discovered during an audit that they were still paying for a software license for a tool their company stopped using 2 years ago. The contract had auto renewed silently because nobody was tracking it. That's a direct financial loss and it's common. SAP Ariba solves this by centralizing everything in a single structure called the Contract Workspace. This is a dedicated digital environment for each contract, one place where the document lives, where approval are tracked, where milestones are monitored, and where every change is logged. The transformation is stark. Before scattered documents, missed renewals, and manual approvals happening over email. And after a centralized, automated, fully auditable contract lifecycle, where the system does the tracking for you. Think of it as going from a managing contracts in a filing cabinet to managing them in a live intelligent dashboard. Let's look at the first two core capabilities SAP Ariba brings to contract management: tracking obligations and controlling approvals. Tracking obligations means the system actively monitors every commitment your organization has made, so nothing slips through the cracks. Three things it tracks: expiration dates, so you never miss a renewal window. Imagine managing 200 supplier contracts manually and trying to remember when each one expires. Ariba sends automated alerts well in advance so you have time to renegotiate or terminate. Second is deliverables and milestones. The system tracks whether the supplier is hitting the agreed checkpoint. Third is compliance requirements, ensuring that regulatory and internal standards tied to a contract are being met. Like a telecom company managing network maintenance contracts across 15 vendors can set up Ariba to alert them 90 days before any contract expires. This gives them time to retender if needed, instead of being forced to extend with the existing vendor on unfavorable terms just because the deadline crept up. Control approvals is equally important. Before any contract is finalized, SAP Ariba automates the entire review workflow. It goes through three stages: legal review, where clauses and terms are checked for compliance; finance approval, where pricing and payment terms are validated; and management sign off, where the contract value is authorized at the appropriate level of hierarchy. Like in a company with a delegation of authority policy, contracts below 10 lakhs can be approved by the procurement head, but anything above 50 lakhs needs the CFO. Ariba routes the approval automatically based on the contract value. No manual escalation needed. No risk of a junior person signing on something beyond their authority. The next two capabilities are document storage and renewal monitoring, and these two alone solve some of the most painful day to day problems in contract management. Store documents. All contract documents live in one secure, searchable repository inside the contract workspace. This includes the main agreement, every amendment ever made to it, all statements of works, pricing annexes, and delivery schedules. Like in a large FMCG company, a single vendor relationship might involve a master agreement, three SOWs, two pricing amendments, and an NDA, all signed at different times over 3 years. Without a centralized system, finding all of these during an audit or a dispute is a nightmare. With Ariba, everything is in one place, version controlled, and accessible to authorized users instantly. Monitor renewals is the feature that saves companies the most money they didn't even know they are losing. The system sends automated reminders before a contract is about to expire, giving the procurement team enough lead time to make a conscious decision: renew, renegotiate, or exit. It also tracks renewal amendments through their own approval workflow, and critically, it prevents unwanted auto renewal surprises. Like a mid sized company once found, they had been auto renewing a 25 lakhs annual software subscription for 4 years for a product only 3 people were using. The contract had an auto renewal clause and nobody was watching it. With Ariba's renewal monitoring, that contract would have triggered an alert 90 days before renewal, prompting a usage review, and they would have cancelled or renegotiated immediately. This is the big picture benefit that ties everything together, which is the risk reduction. SAP Ariba reduces both legal and financial risk through 4 mechanisms. First is standardized templates. Instead of every procurement person drafting contracts from scratch or copy pasting from old agreements, Ariba provides pre approved contract templates and that have already been reviewed by legal. This ensures consistent, compliant language across every single contract the company signs, no matter who creates it. Like a company with operations in 10 countries used to have each country team draft their own vendor contracts. The result was wildly inconsistent terms. Some contracts had no liability caps, some have no IP clauses. After implementing Ariba with standardized templates, their legal exposure dropped significantly because every contract now starts from the same pre approved baseline. Second is controlled clause language. Ariba allows legal teams to lock certain clauses so they cannot be edited without authorization. This prevents well meaning but non legal staff from accidentally removing important protections while trying to speed up a deal. Third is full audit trail. Every single action in the system is logged. Who made what change, at what time, and what was the previous version. This is invaluable during disputes and regulatory audits. Like in a legal dispute over whether a payment term was 30 days or 60 days, the audit trail in Ariba showed exactly when the change was made, who approved it, and what email triggered it, resolving the dispute in hours instead of weeks of document discovery. Fourth is version tracking. No more confusion about which version of a contract is the latest one. Ariba maintains a clean version history so everyone is always working for the same current document. And that's a wrap on SAP Ariba contracts, the introduction. Today we covered what a business contract actually defines, roles and responsibilities, pricing and payment terms, deliverables. We then saw how SAP Ariba manages all of this digitally through the Contract Workspace and the 4 capabilities it brings. The key takeaway is this: a great sourcing process means nothing if the contract that follows it is poorly managed. The contract is where your negotiated value is either protected or leaked. SAP Ariba ensures it's always protected. Now, in the next video, we will going deeper. We will go inside the contract workspace itself. We will see exactly how is structured, how a contract is created from start to finish. If this video helped you, please hit like, share it with someone in procurement or supply chain, and subscribe to Modern Sourcing and Procurement. Thank you. See you in the next one.